Hey guys, I'm not really sure why I'm filming this video. Part of me feels a little bit of a burden because I don't know if you're like me, you're feeling like something's off with the world, that normal isn't normal, up isn't up. The dynamics of the geopolitical landscape are changing, and in America, to be American isn't what it used to be. And then I'm heartbroken because people are hurting. They're asleep. They're living inside the game. They're caught up in it and they don't know. And I feel like I've woken up all of a sudden to something deeper, that America is consumerist. They base their economy around consumerism, and now like the wealthy elite are controlling the media. They're controlling the algorithms, and they know exactly what to give you when they need to give it to you in order for you to go buy things or be distracted by your phone. They know how your brain works. They know your neurochemistry. They know all of these details about you. They're able to just give you products that you don't need, but they make you think you need them. And then life is just hard. Like, it's expensive. We were sold a dream that didn't work out. People grew up with faith traditions that that were perversions of their traditions, and missing the essence of them, missing the embodiment of love, of connecting to a higher power, a really truthful higher source. It was focused around the dogma, getting the beliefs right, or focus on the external things, which is exactly what consumerism is. It's the same thing. And the people that are ruling are doing the same thing. Trump is using it to his advantage. He sees that, and if you are in power, you can use that to your advantage. And even if he's not even conscious of it, he's playing a character and a part of the role. Putin sees it, and he's using his awareness of the game to capitalize on it by poking the bear, and strategically trying to take over resources to control, and also control his own people. If the Russians are able, war unites people, and it gives people meaning and purpose, and makes them happier, and he's using that to his advantage to secure his control and expand Russia. Even we think he's weak, we think that, but he's not playing the same game. It's asymmetric warfare, and Iran sees it. They keep trying to poke the bear, but just enough in a way to get us to respond how they want us to in America. And I've really been getting into game theory lately, and seeing how America is playing the bully, and and they're unaware of it, but our democracy is getting fragmented at this point. It's becoming more authoritarian, and that's regardless of whether Trump is president. The system will just be in place, and people will continue to be unhappy and stuck. And that part's sad. But I feel a little lonely because there's not many people thinking about the grand strategy of things. It's the way my brain works. But also I'm at peace with that too, because as I'm sitting here and listening to these lectures and reading and researching things and seeing the pattern of human behavior, of the fall of empires, and America is just one of those. And the way I grew up, America would never fall, and it will, and that's okay. It would be easy to just try to cling to that power, but or feel hopeless. But if you were born here, it's a privilege, but you're also very short-sighted. It's easy to be short-sighted because it's what you grew up with. But when you look at the world, like, we run things because we have the biggest military, we have the most money, and we control the money. But as soon as those things start to fragment, we control the military. Yeah, that we'll still have that. But if Iran baits us into conflict with them, if they send 20 million in drone strikes, we have to pay $1 billion to defend it. You do that enough times and it adds up, and you see the debt rising, and the only way that our debt doesn't really mean anything is if we use the big stick of our military to coerce people. And if you've watched Star Wars, you see how that ends up. It fragments. And so I'm sitting here, like, I see the game, but there's nothing I can really do about it. Like, I'm not running for office, and I'm not an elite. I'm an Amazon driver and Uber driver and gig musician, and I've got my own family. And so I'm sitting kind of in the subliminal space of all of that, and all of a sudden zooming out. And the more that I read up on different religions, I grew up Christian, but the more I keep reading up on religions, the more I find that they're all pointing to the same thing, and it's an inner calm, inner stillness, inner peace, and a connection to a greater purpose, a greater power that's in control. And it's not about getting the right dogma behind it. It's about experiencing the essence. When I read Jesus, he was talking about bringing the kingdom of God to earth, and following his way. If I read Krishna, and when you look within, you find that it's an illusion between you and God. This is kind of how I woke up. I started meditating and praying, and then researching these things, and because for many years I suffered trying to get it right, and also addicted to the same things that everybody else is, video games, or buying stuff, or all sorts of stuff. And it was trying to escape my negative emotions, and but all of it makes me blind to the game. It made me blind to the what's going on. And I don't know, I feel awake now, and I've experienced peace and contentment, and purpose and meaning, and it's what everybody's searching for. But the mystics throughout history, all of them, they seem to point to the same thing. Even mystics from different religions, that like still looking within the interconnectedness of things. And I'm like, again, when I have peace, I feel detached from trying to build a name for myself, but what I can bring is presence and authenticity. And so I think that's what this video is. I don't know if you're feeling that way, if there's anybody that is on YouTube that are feeling this way. I'm not trying to build a channel to make money or get rich, but it's a tool that can leverage the internet to maybe connect with people, and other people that are feeling the same way. I don't think you're crazy. If you're out there and you're feeling some similar thing, I don't think you're crazy at all. I think that you see the game, And I think something's coming. I think, if you look at history, like anytime there's fragments like this, new religions pop up, and new mystics pop up, and new prophets pop up. And I used to think that we had kind of moved beyond that as society is, but history, it doesn't always repeat, but it often rhymes, and humans are looking for meaning and purpose. And I think that we are looking to external things to solve it. We're looking for the government to solve it. We're looking for, if I get enough money, that'll solve it. If things were just the way they should be, but then I look back at like great people. They were able to find meaning and purpose and embodied love, and it is really true that the love of money is the root of all evil, and you just see that. And I don't know. My thoughts are kind of all scrambled. But maybe I'll come on here and talk about it and connect. And if you're out there looking at the world and feeling hopeless and lost, there are so many tools like therapy and all sorts of stuff, and I know that that's expensive. There are a lot of YouTube channels that are a lot of self-help. And even with meditation, I thought I was, I struggled to find meditations that work to get the right outcomes. And once you read Buddha, read Jesus, it wasn't about the method. There were tools that they used and techniques, but it wasn't about the technique. It was about the inner stillness. Because when you're really still, I just find you feel connected to the Creator, to something bigger, and you get peace, and you get the thing that the fruits of the Spirit that you and once you get that, you always have it, because it doesn't matter what your circumstances are. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. It doesn't matter if you're homeless or you are a rich aristocrat. It doesn't matter if you're Donald Trump himself, or the inner stillness comes by when you sit still. And what can't we do now? We can't sit still. We get bored too quickly. We get so attached to our ego that we try to buy stuff to fill that. We're insecure, so we are scared to talk to other people. But it's what we're it's the way that we're wired. We're supposed to connect. And it's fickle, because if you're supposed to be able to connect and you're not, there comes more anxiety, and then you become self-aware of the fact that you have more anxiety about that, and you shouldn't have anxiety about that. You beat yourself up for that. And so what's the only thing that numbs that you find is video games, buying stuff, comparing yourself, hurting yourself, addictions, and of course that's on the rise. And that's why I think that I think a spiritual awakening of some sort is down the pike. But if I grew up in Pentecostal churches, and so we prayed for revival all the time, and it's funny because when we pray for revival, it's all about God doing something external. It was always about numbers showing up and people having emotional experiences, and and as I got older, I had a hard time believing Christianity, and now I believe it more than ever. But it's from the mystic side, where in the personal, that when Jesus taught, it was about the kingdom of God to earth, but it started with him by himself meditating and praying and in stillness. And I think I think there's something to that. And at least I've experienced that for myself. And it's funny when I am trying to attain that by and techniques and stuff, and I'm striving to get it, I don't get it. It's so hard, and it's fickle, and it is fleeting, but it's I think that it's a spiritual problem, and it's getting masked as mental health, it's getting masked as corruption, it's getting masked as greed, and it is all of those things. But at the core, and I think this is what's missing, is it's a spiritual thing. Not in like the American evangelicalism, you got to get right with God, or that you need, is this a sin, is that a sin? But in genuine stillness, the real you talking to the real God. And that doesn't happen outward. That doesn't happen externally. It happens internally, and it happens with one person at a time. And that's what, because, you know, history repeats itself, and the pattern keeps going, and eventually all things come to an end. And, you know, we get caught up on how it will end, or controlling it, and trying to like extend it, try to make it last as long as possible. But like death comes for all of us. Like everybody, I'm gonna die, everybody's gonna die, and the whole thing will blow up at some point. I mean, you know, people talk about nukes, and it's another existential threat, right? But if it's that or not, it's eventually it'll all end, and you can't control that. But while you're here, you can either live in hell on earth by suffering to the fact that the world isn't the way it should be, or that you see that it's going to end, or you try to control you control the environment your kids grow up in, or you control your bank account, or all of those things. But where does that get you? But the stillness and surrender of sitting still with the real you and the real God, you realize that you're a part of that God, that you and God are one. I mean, that's what Jesus talked about with the vine and the branches. It's in Vedanta, the Brahman, I am that. Like, yeah. But I do just want to encourage you that I don't think you're crazy if you're feeling this stuff. I don't have any answers. I certainly don't. I'm just a guy that feels like he's in the middle of all of that, and trying to raise his own family, and trying to also build a life in the middle of all of it, but also realizing that the game's rigged, and rather than get mad about it, accept it. And when I did that, I have peace. And I end up getting everything that I really wanted anyways. Like, that's the irony. When you give up trying to strive for what you want, and accepting where you are, and just realize the present moment is a gift, life has a way of just working itself out, and it takes care of itself. And that's what I really believe, that you can have peace, you can have contentment, if you stop striving, if you stop trying to fight against the system, if you know, there's a million practical ways for that. But also, like, it's not about that way. It's an internal thing. I can't wake that up for you, and no preacher can wake that up for you. It's not about words or the dogma. It's an internal state that looking within and accepting reality as it is, and accepting life as it is. Sure, was it easier for our parents? Maybe. Well, you know, should the billionaires give up money? Like, maybe, but who says they should? You know, it's like it's humans make up their own stories about things and their own reasoning for things, and everybody has a reason for something, and you know, and that's what leads to wars. It's what leads to all the issues is that. And but at the essence of sitting still, observing, gratitude, not beating yourself up, giving yourself grace, telling yourself you did a good job, like loving on yourself. Because I believe when you love on yourself, you're loving God. And when you love on yourself, not in an ego thing of like, look how great I am, because that's not loving on yourself. You're insecure at that point. You're insecure and trying to make a name for yourself. That's not love. That's not real love. But like really being kind and gentle to yourself. And I believe like when you do that and you sit still, you also are more kind and more gentle to others naturally. And you also have empathy because you also know that you were hurting before. And then you all of a sudden you start seeing other people that are just hurting. And so another person is no longer an inconvenience or a demographic, that like they're you. Like you guys are the same. Like they're just living in another body. Like but it's not about like trying to be loving to them because it's what you should do. But I think when you look in, like, and you really sit with yourself, you'll figure it out. Anyways, I love you, whoever you are, and you know, maybe one of you will watch. But I'm out here thinking and talking, and as I work, it's like what I chew on, and so no matter what I'm learning, whether that's like, you know, the game theory or like the geopolitical stuff at the moment, or music, or you know, how to raise my kids better, or how to sing better, whatever, at the center of all that, I end up asking myself, okay, well, you know, what does this mean for me? But even then, it's like, oh, there's a constant, and that constant is something bigger than me, that I'm connected to, that I'm a part of, and that we all are. And just be kind to yourself, love yourself, take care of yourself, and just look in, observe when you get mad, observe what triggers you, observe like patterns in your life that, like, you know what, when every time that I wake up, I'm so grumpy. Like, what's going on there? Oh, my mind is racing. And we try to look for external things to fix it, techniques. It's like, sit still with it, feel it. Don't run from it, feel it. Pause. And then even telling yourself that God's got me. I'm loved. That nothing can take that away from me. And I think that's where peace comes. Anyways, talk soon.